We're going to talk about the dice game. I'm going to show you what I mean by what's the difference between disable and deactivate. Because there's a part in the assignment where you deactivate the buttons but don't disable them. And then a different part in the assignment where you actually disable the buttons. Let me show you what that looks like. In the dice game, each round you have 5 rolls. See, it says 5 rolls left this round. You have 5 rolls to roll to get the best score that you feel like you can get. Usually you want to get higher numbers. See how it's rolls left, there's only 1 left. So my score is 21. Rolls left this round is 0. These buttons are not deactivated. They're not disabled. They're not disabled. Notice how when I put my mouse over them, it still kind of lights up. I can click on them. They don't do anything, so they've effectively been deactivated, but not disabled. That's a little fine distinction, but it's meant to teach you a lesson in writing this assignment. Now, if I go through all of the rounds, notice I get to round 10. I'm going to play through round 10. I've run out of rolls. I got 23 points. Now when I click this button, they are disabled. You can tell that by, they're a nice gray, plain color, but when I put my mouse over them, they don't highlight. Okay, do you see the difference? I can do this again in slow motion if you'd like me to, but there's a difference between deactivating the buttons, meaning that they're not going to do anything. You can click on them until the cows come home, but they're not going to do anything, versus they're disabled. They just don't accept any mouse clicks. Did you notice the difference? Does anybody need to see it again? Okay. When I first... So this is the beginning of my dice game, which is probably not too far off from where your dice game is. It's going to run here. So notice how they highlight when I wave my mouse over them. And I can click on them. I don't have anything, I don't have rolls left being calculated right now, but all of my buttons are active. Make sense? So I'm going to go hotwire the car, so to speak. I'm going to change die 4 to do nothing. Button 4 is going to do nothing. I've just commented out everything. So with button 4, it's not disabled, but I've effectively deactivated button 4. It says 6 because that's what it rolled when it first came up, but I can click on it until the cows come home. I'll stop using that analogy. But I can click on it, and it doesn't do anything, but these others do. So by commenting out all the code, I have effectively deactivated that button. It does nothing. But I want to do this with code. So I can do this with code with an if statement, an appropriate if statement. Hint, hint, wink, wink, nod, nod. All right, pro tip. Here is a pro tip for the day. I can type the word if. All I typed is if, and then it pops up right here and it says if code snippet for if statement. Tab twice to insert the if snippet. If a snippet is just a little piece of code. I'm going to hit tab twice, and it created an if statement for me. Isn't that beautiful? This is how an if statement is. Starts with if, cut 2 parens with some Boolean expression in there. Right now the Boolean expression is true. And then the body here. Well, I'm going to move all of that code inside the body. Remember, you have to always have matching braces. So I'm going to delete one brace, go to the end here, and put the other, and it automatically indented the code. So all of this code, the die 4, roll the die and calculate round score, has just been moved inside this if statement. What will my code do right now if I were to run it? When I click on die 4? Anybody want to hazard a guess? It's going to do what it's supposed to, because this says, hey, if this Boolean expression is true, it is true, it's always true, it will forever be true in my code. So die 4, we'll run this. So die 4 just does what all the other buttons do. It just has a little extra if statement in there that doesn't really do a whole lot. So what if I change this expression to be false? What will change? Notice how it kind of grayed out all the code? The compiler is kind of warning you or telling you, this is always false, meaning we're always going to skip over this. I'm never going to run that code. So by making that false, I have effectively deactivated button 4. You with me? So I can click on button 4 until the students come home, and it doesn't do anything. 1, 2, and 3 all do the same old thing that they've done before. Hint, hint, wink, wink, nod, nod. This is key to what you're going to do in your buttons to deactivate the buttons when you run out of roles left. You're going to want to put some Boolean expression that says, hey, do I still have roles left? If I still have roles left, we'll go ahead and do this. If I don't, I'm going to skip right over that. Now let's go change the behavior of button 3 for a second. I'm going to comment all this out. I'm going to make button 3 my button that disables all of my buttons. So I've named my buttons button die 1, button die 2, button die 3. So I'm going to say button die 1 dot, and the property is called is enabled. And if I say is enabled equals false, that means that is this button enabled? False, if you want to read it that way. It disables the button. That is how you disable a button. So if I want to disable all 4 buttons, I'm just going to copy that statement 4 times. This is just a for example, okay? This is not where you would put this code. So now, when I click on button 3, it's going to disable all 4 of those main buttons. So I can roll the dice here, I can roll the dice there. This one doesn't do anything because he's deactivated, but when I click on button 4, they all went gray, and it disabled them all. You're going to need to look in the assignment to figure out where will I want to use something like this to disable my buttons. Now in reality, we would be disabling the new round button as well. Somewhere in your code, what's the condition when you're going to disable all the buttons? Can you think through what you've seen in the dice game? When's the time when you would disable all your buttons? After you've run out of roles, that's when you deactivate the 4 buttons, but that's after round 10. So you're going to go round 1. You'll run through round 1 until you either run out of roles or you got a really good roll, and then you'll say, new round. It'll bank that score, roll the dice again. Round 9, round 10. At the end of round 10, when you say new round, that's when you're going to do this code. I'll leave this up on the screen as an example. Hopefully this helps you. Any questions about what I've just shown you? The difference between disabling and deactivating. There's a little difference. This is going to be some Boolean expression in there. That's what this assignment is all about. It's all about branching. Okay. I'm going to stop this.